I spent one night inside the Villisca Axe Murder House, and I have never entered another haunted property since. The small white house stands in Villisca, Iowa. During the night of June 9, 1912, Josiah and Sarah Moore returned from a church program with their 4 children and 2 visiting sisters, Lena and Ina Stillinger. By the following morning, all 8 people inside had been murdered with an axe belonging to Josiah Moore. 6 of the victims were children. The killer covered several mirrors and windows before leaving. Despite numerous suspects and 2 trials, nobody was ever convicted. My friend Ryan persuaded me to join him for an overnight investigation. He ran a small paranormal channel while I operated his second camera. The caretaker showed us the bedrooms, the downstairs room where the Stillinger sisters had slept, and the small attic above the second floor. Some investigators believe the murderer may have hidden inside the house before the family returned from church. Before leaving, the caretaker warned us that if we heard children, we should never follow them into the attic. She explained that children were not the only things people had heard up there. At 10 that night, she locked the door behind us. For the first 2 hours, nothing happened. The house creaked occasionally, but it was more than a century old, so we ignored it. Shortly after midnight, we placed a recorder inside one of the children's bedrooms. Ryan sat beside the bed and began asking whether anyone was present and if they could give us a name. At first, there was no response. Then a small ball near the wall rolled slowly across the floor and stopped beside his foot. The floor was uneven, so I tested it. I returned the ball to the same position 3 times. Every time, it rolled in the opposite direction. A few minutes later, 3 light knocks came from inside the bedroom wall. Ryan knocked back. 3 knocks answered. After he asked whether one of the Moore children was speaking to us, a young girl whispered from directly behind us that someone was awake. We both turned around. The room was empty. The recorder captured the voice clearly. Then a floorboard groaned inside the attic. Another groan followed. Something above us appeared to be crossing slowly from one side of the house to the other. Ryan opened the attic access. I reminded him about the caretaker's warning, but he handed me the camera and pulled himself through the opening. For several seconds, I could only see his legs. Then, he stopped moving. He quietly asked who had climbed up behind him. I told him nobody had. A heavy footstep sounded inside the attic. Then another. Ryan dropped through the opening so quickly that he landed hard on his shoulder.
Come closer,
Something
child.
struck the attic door from above.
You can't escape
We ran
me
downstairs.
now.
At approximately
This is
1:40 in the
why.
morning, we heard children running across the second floor. Their footsteps traveled through the bedrooms and into the hallway. Quiet laughter followed. Ryan approached the staircase. The moment his foot touched the first step, the laughter stopped. A much heavier footstep sounded above us. Then another. The floorboards groaned beneath each slow step. Something walked to the top of the staircase. We pointed our flashlights upward. Nobody was there. Then the top stair creaked. A few seconds later, the stair below it creaked. The sound continued downward, one step at a time. Ryan backed away. A young girl suddenly began crying inside the downstairs bedroom where Lena and Ina had been found. The crying sounded terrified. I opened the door. The room was empty. However, the blanket had been pulled from the bed and placed over the mirror. Ryan lifted one corner. In the reflection, a tall man stood between us. He wore dark clothing, and his face was hidden in shadow. I turned around. Nobody was there. When I looked back at the mirror, the man had moved closer. Ryan dropped the blanket. An upstairs bedroom door slammed. A child screamed. Then, something heavy began dragging across the floor above us. The sound moved in slow bursts toward the staircase, scraping, stopping, and then scraping again. We grabbed as much equipment as we could and ran outside. One recorder remained upstairs, but neither of us was willing to retrieve it. The caretaker returned after sunrise and collected it for us. Most of the recording contained footsteps, static, and unexplained movement. But at 2:03 in the morning, while Ryan and I were already standing outside, a man could be heard breathing beside the microphone. He then whispered that we had left before he was finished. Beneath his voice, a child could be heard repeating that he had been waiting in the attic. Ryan never uploaded the footage. Several weeks later, he sent me one photograph taken as we escaped. It showed us running through the downstairs hallway. At the top of the staircase stood a tall man holding an axe. Behind him were 6 children. All 6 were pointing toward the attic.
See you next time. Subscribe and like for more. Goodbye!